I don't want to throw away my money on rent anymore. Sound familiar? But here's the shocking truth that Bankrate and Freddie Mac data reveals. Buying a home might actually waste more of your money because the median homeowner spends 34% more monthly than renters when you include all the hidden costs. Today, we're exposing the biggest homeownership myths that the $2.8 trillion real estate industry doesn't want you to know. Real estate always goes up. My house doubled in value. Let me tell you about Sarah. She bought a $300,000 house in 2000 and sold it for $600,000 in 2023. So she thinks she doubled her money, right? Wrong. Real estate only beats inflation by 0.1% annually over 100 years. Sarah paid $180,000 in interest, plus $65,000 in property taxes, plus $85,000 in maintenance, plus $25,000 in insurance. Her $300,000 profit shrinks to just $145,000. But wait, there's more bad news because her original $300,000 is worth $480,000 in today's dollars after inflation. Her real gain over 23 years? Just $265,000. Meanwhile, the S&P 500 would have turned her $300,000 into $1.8 million. That's nearly 7 times more profit. Houses aren't investments and they're expensive shelters. But surely rental income changes everything, right? I'll just rent it out and let tenants pay my mortgage. The average landlord spends over 40 hours monthly managing properties, while facing 8.2% vacancy rates annually. For every $1,000 in mortgage payments, you need to add $500 for hidden costs. Your $500,000 house with a $3,200 mortgage needs $4,800 in rent just to break even. But data shows similar homes rent for only $3,400. You're losing $1,400 every single month, and that's $16,800 in yearly losses. Plus, 15% of landlords face legal issues annually, and each case costs an average of $8,500. Being a landlord is a second job, not passive income. But at least homeownership stops you from throwing money away on rent, or does it? Why pay someone else's mortgage when you can pay your own? Here's a real example from Seattle where you can rent a $700,000 house for $3,500 monthly, or buy it with total payments of $6,200 monthly when you include mortgage plus taxes plus insurance plus maintenance. That $2,700 monthly difference invested at 7% returns equals $459,000 after 10 years and $1.67 million after 20 years. Homeowners are house rich but cash poor because they have 80% of their wealth tied up in one illiquid asset, while renters who invest have diversified portfolios worth 40% more on average. Rent isn't waste because it's buying you flexibility and investment opportunity. But don't homeowners get massive tax breaks? The government pays me back through tax deductions. Really? Here's your reality check. If you make $150,000 annually and pay $25,000 in mortgage interest, you save roughly $3,000 in taxes, but you paid $25,000 to save $3,000. That's like spending $8 to get $1 back. The Joint Committee on Taxation shows mortgage interest deductions primarily benefit wealthy households earning over $200,000, while 68% of homeowners making under $100,000 get zero tax benefit. A house is a safe place for your money. History shows the opposite. Home prices dropped 33% nationally during the 2008 to 2012 crash. Detroit has 20,000 abandoned homes, selling for under $1,000, and Miami faces $15 billion in flood damage risk by 2050. Even stable markets crash hard. Las Vegas homes lost 62% of their value in 2008, while Phoenix dropped 56%. And Atom data shows 1 in 239 homes faces foreclosure annually. Your house concentrates 100% of your real estate investment in one property in one neighborhood in one city. The S&P 500 spreads risk across 500 companies in multiple industries and countries. Which sounds safer? Real estate isn't stable because it's a concentrated bet on one location. But with prices rising, shouldn't you buy before being priced out? Prices only go up. Buy now before it's too late. 2024 buyers face the worst affordability in 40 years. You're getting hit with the highest home prices in history, which are up 47% since 2020, plus the highest mortgage rates in 23 years at over 7% compared to 2.7% in 2020, plus the lowest inventory in decades. Home prices far outpace incomes. Here's your historical perspective because for 100 years before 2000, home prices tracked inflation almost exactly. This recent explosion isn't normal growth and it's artificial speculation. FOMO is the enemy of smart money decisions. But doesn't a mortgage at least force you to save money? A mortgage payment forces me to build wealth. 26% of households earning over 100,000 leave paycheck to paycheck. A mortgage doesn't fix spending problems because it makes them deadly. Here's better forced savings. Automatic $2,000 monthly investments in index funds provide emergency accessibility, plus diversification across thousands of companies, plus 10.5% average annual returns compared to real estate's 3.8%, plus no risk of foreclosure. The survey of consumer finances shows homeowners have 67% of net worth tied up in their illiquid home, while disciplined renters who invest have 40% higher liquid net worth by age 50. Mortgages don't create discipline because they create dangerous concentration risk. So when should you buy? Buy a house only if all these conditions are met based on financial research. You're staying 10 years or more in the same location because that's the break-even point, and you have 20% down payment plus a 6-month emergency fund intact, and your monthly costs are under 28% of gross income per qualified mortgage standards. You've calculated rent plus invest versus buy and buy still wins, and the monthly difference versus rent is under $500, and you want customization while not minding being tied down. Don't buy if even one of these is true. You're buying because that's what adults do, or you're counting on appreciation, or you can't afford the down payment without touching emergency funds, or your career might require moving, or you think it's an investment. Look, homeownership isn't evil, but the myths around it are financially dangerous. A house is an expensive shelter that might appreciate slightly over decades. The real scam isn't rent, because the real scam is convincing an entire generation to buy overpriced houses they can't afford using money they don't have for returns they won't get. Your homework is simple. Calculate the true cost of ownership versus renting plus investing by using real numbers, not emotions. Your future millionaire self will thank you.